Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys. I hope that all of you are doing well. I'm very happy about today's video because today I'm going to show you two great clones of two discontinued gems. Both clones come from the House of Fragrance World. Both clones come from the same line of fragrances that's called the Posh line. The fragrance house is Fragrance World, and the two scents that I'm going to talk about in today's video are the first one, Posh Malt. This is a great clone of Thierry Mugler's Amen Pure Malt, and the second one is called Posh Omega, and this one is a great clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Malt Essence Parfum. I'm going to start with the Posh Mode. That will be the first fragrance that I'm going to talk about today. The fragrance comes packaged in this sort of a dark brownish colored box that has an inside box that's painted in gold color and has golden accents all around. On the front you got the name of the fragrance, Posh Mode, the concentration EDP, the bottle size, which is 80 milliliters in this case. On the back and on the top you got some additional Fragrance World branding, a sticker of authenticity. On the bottom there's a production date which reads July of 2022, so a bit of an old bottle. And in order to get to the actual bottle, this is like the actual box. This is a sleeve. You have to take it out, and then you open up the box like this. And once you do that, this is how the bottle looks. It has a sort of an pretty classic design. The cap is plastic. It's quite a snug fit, so it's not a problem to pick up the bottle through the cap. The bottle has nice heft, and all around, the packaging is pretty decent. The note breakdown of Posh Mode from Fragrance World has the following notes. The top notes are fruity notes, orange and bergamot. The middle notes are whiskey, ethyl maltol, patchouli, coffee and cedar. And the base notes are pure vanilla, amber and musk. I'll show you the spray in action, and then I'll talk about the scent of Posh Mode from Fragrance World. The spray is actually, pretty decent, puts a nice amount of juice. And now onto the scent of Posh Mode. This fragrance is very loud and very strong in the opening. As soon as I spray it, I get a ton of that, boozy notes that this fragrance has, the whiskey note that contains Posh Mode has in it. It's very, very strong, and that's the main player in the opening of this fragrance. There's a bit of that fruity sweetness, those fruity notes that are listed as a note breakdown. There's not much freshness, in the opening. Maybe a hint of citruses that are trying to balance out, the amount of sweetness and the boozy note, the whiskey note. But the citrusy notes, those fresh notes, they play more of a support role in the opening. The opening, to my nose, is a mix of the fruity notes, the sweet fruity notes, the whiskey note, and maybe some additional sort of slight darkness that comes from the coffee note. Once this fragrance starts to dry down, you completely lose all of the the freshness, whatever small amount of freshness this fragrance has in the opening. On the dry down, it's completely gone. The dry down, to my nose, is a mix of the fruit notes, the whiskey, the coffee, the amber. It's a very interesting scent profile that in my opinion is not very safe for buying. You definitely need to try this one first, because especially in the opening, that strong alcohol note, that strong whiskey note can be a bit overwhelming for some people. But I really enjoy Posh Malt. I was a huge fan of the original fragrance, and Posh Malt is also really nice. When it comes to how close this fragrance is to the original scent, I would say that, in here Fragrance World have done a fantastic job at copying the original fragrance. It's very similar in the opening and on the dry down. Maybe lacks a bit of the darkness and a bit of the sweetness of the original fragrance on the dry down, but in my nose the opening is super similar, and all around, again, Fragrance World have done a very good job at copying the original scent, and it's super close, especially in the air around the person who wears Posh Mode. When it comes to performance, it's a above average performing fragrance, nothing spectacular, nothing crazy. when you first use this fragrance, when you first spray it, it's very loud in the opening, and you may end up thinking that this will be a beast mode of a performer, but unfortunately it doesn't last that super long. In my experience, this lasts somewhere between 6.5 to 7 hours with very strong initial projection. The first 1 hour is very loud, and then after the 1 hour mark this starts to sit closer and closer to the skin. When it comes to the price tag, I paid about 22-23 euros to get this fragrance, which in my opinion is very good. It's a pretty good deal, because this will get you very close to a discontinued gem from the house of Thierry Mugler. When it comes to versatility, this is a fragrance that's strictly leaning to the male side. It's a very masculine fragrance and definitely more orientated towards the colder months of the year. It's just too sharp and too dark, and also on the dry down too sweet in order to work as a warm weather scent. It's more of a cold weather scent and definitely more of a nighttime scent. And now onto the second fragrance featured in today's video, the Posh Omega, again from Fragrance World. Packaging is very similar, pretty much identical to the other fragrance, to Posh Malt, although here the color combinations are different. The outer sleeve is colored in black color, and the accents and the inside box are painted in silver and bluish accents. Again, on the front you got the name of the fragrance, the concentration EDP, the bottle size, again 80 milliliters, the same branding on the top and on the back. The production date here is again July of 2022. In order to get to the bottle, you need to do pretty much the same stuff as with the other fragrance, and the bottle design again is absolutely identical with the slightly different colorations. Again, get the pretty same plastic cap, and all around, bottle wise and package wise, they are absolutely identical. The note breakdown of Posh Omega from Fragrance World has the following notes. The top notes are cardamom, pepper, bergamot and artemisia. The middle notes are leather, lavender, cinnamon and sage. And the base notes are vanilla, coumarin, amber oud, costus and musk. Again, I'll show you the sprayer in action, and then I'll talk about the scent of Posh Omega. Again, pretty much the same quality, good quality sprayer as with Posh Mode. And now onto the scent of Posh Omega. I absolutely love this fragrance. The opening here is all about the mix of the very strong, very sexy and very good quality cardamom note, which is the main player in the opening of this fragrance. You get a bit of an additional spiciness from a black pepper note. There's a bit of freshness from a lavender and bergamot, but it's like a hint of freshness, a bit of greenness as well in the opening, and as a sort of an supporting players in the opening of this fragrance. The two notes are the leather note and the vanilla note. In the opening, they're not very strong, the leather and the vanilla, they play more of a support role, and the opening is more about the spicy, nature of the cardamom note, which is really nicely done. Once this fragrance starts to settle down on your skin, some of the spiciness goes away, although the cardamom is again one of the three main players in the life of this fragrance. But on the dry down, the vanilla and the leather, they start to become more and more prominent, more and more powerful, and actually they take the spotlight on the dry down. The dry down, to my nose, is all about the mix of the vanilla and the leather note, with the supporting players being the cardamom, some of the woodsy notes that this fragrance has, and a touch of the musk. It's a very interesting and quite an unique scent profile that in my opinion is very masculine. I've been really enjoying the scent of Posh Omega. When it comes to how close this fragrance is to the original scent, the Essence de Parfum from Jean-Paul Gaultier, it's been quite a while since I've tried this fragrance. It's been discontinued, unfortunately, for some time, but from what I remember, the original fragrance smelling, Posh Omega seems to be doing a very good job at copying the original fragrance. Maybe the original felt like it had a little bit stronger and slightly better quality leather note, but apart from that, I don't remember that the original being very different to Posh Omega. And I think again, Fragrance World have done a really good job at copying the scent of the now discontinued Essence de Parfum from Jean-Paul Gaultier. When it comes to performance, Posh Omega has been a very decent performer, well above average in my experience. I've been getting about 7 to 7.5 hours of performance out of this fragrance, with an okay-ish projection in the first hour and a half up to 2 hours. It's not as strong projecting as Posh Mode in the opening, but in my experience at least, this sustains its projection for slightly longer, up to 2 hours, and the total longevity is about 7 to 7.5 hours. So again, slightly longer lasting compared to Posh Mode from the same line of fragrances. When it comes to the price tag, pretty similar to the other fragrance that I just showed you, about 22-23 euros, which in my opinion again is a very good deal, because you're getting a great clone of a not discontinued designer fragrance. And when it comes to versatility, again, in my opinion, this is a fragrance that's a little bit more orientated towards the colder months of the year, but unlike Posh Malt, I think this is a little bit more versatile. It's again a very masculine fragrance that can be worn pretty much all year round. So all in all, Posh Omega is actually quite versatile. And on to my final thoughts about Posh Malt and Posh Omega, both from the House of Fragrance world. As I said in the opening of this video, in the beginning of this video, both of them are great clones of two real gems, designer gems that unfortunately have both been discontinued. And this is a great way to actually smell like those original fragrances. Posh Malt is a very good clone of Thierry Mugler's Pure Malt, especially in the opening. I think they've almost completely nailed the opening of the original fragrance. You get a very boozy, very loud, very strong opening that has a sort of a sweet, darker, dry down. Again, on the dry down, very similar to the original fragrance with pretty decent performance. And Posh Omega, I really love this sexy cardamom fragrance. A very nice mix of the cardamom, the lavender, the leather, and the vanilla notes. Really good masculine scent that in a way is reminiscent to the way that the cardamom note has been used in something like La Nuit de l'Homme. I'm not saying that this is close to La Nuit de l'Homme, just the cardamom note is sort of reminiscent. Both fragrances are really nice. Both fragrances offer very good performance, very decent performance, low price tag, and again, they're very good clones of discontinued fragrances that are very expensive to get nowadays. So if you have ever looked for a clone of Pure Malt from Thierry Mugler or Essence de Parfum from Jean-Paul Gaultier, then definitely check out Posh Omega and Posh Malt. Both fragrances get a love from me. And so guys, in today's video I showed you two great clones of two great discontinued designer fragrances from the House of Fragrance world, Posh Malt and Posh Omega. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.